A year or so after the events in chapter 7, Judah's war with Israel and Syria was continuing, with many in Judah being killed or taken prisoner. But, as Isaiah had promised, Jerusalem itself had not been attacked. Also, Assyria, the greater threat to the north, had not yet invaded their lands. But now Isaiah was commanded to give a new warning about that looming threat. So let's look at the first 4 verses of chapter 8. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, Take thee a great roll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher-shalal-hash-baz. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record, Uriah the priest, and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, Call his name Maher-shalal-hash-baz, for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, My father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. Notice that first word, moreover. In other places, that word wayomer is translated as, and he said. So this word implies a continuation of that which has preceded it, making this a continuation of Isaiah's timeline for the last days. So Isaiah was commanded to write on a scroll in large letters, Maher-shalal-hash-baz, which means speed to the plunder, hasten to the spoil. Not surprisingly, it's the longest word in the Bible. The scroll Isaiah made was likely put on public display, which would have caused some excitement, as witnesses could testify that it came from Isaiah. The first witness, Uriah, was probably the high priest of the temple. The fact that Isaiah could call upon the temple's high priest to become a witness is evidence that he held a prominent position in the court. The second witness, Zechariah, is not the prophet who would write his own prophecies in the book of Zechariah hundreds of years later. In verse 3, we learn that Isaiah went to his wife, whom he calls the prophetess. The implication being that she too was a prophet, not just the wife of a prophet. 9 months later, when she bore their second son, Isaiah was commanded to use that same word he had written nearly a year before to name the child, Maher-shalal-hash-baz. Some scholars think the child went by only 2 of the names, either Maher-shalal or Hashbaz. Either way, it was an unusual name. Thus, Isaiah's 2 sons, Shear-jashub and Maher-shalal-hash-baz, became walking witnesses of things Isaiah probably could not say out loud, and people could take their names any way they wished. Isaiah prophesied that the child would not be old enough to utter his first words, father or mother, before the Assyrian army would descend upon Israel and Syria. So now the people waited for this prophecy to be fulfilled, and they didn't have to wait long, as the Assyrian army soon fell upon Israel and Syria in a devastating attack. Thousands were killed, and many more were marched off to foreign lands, in some cases over 1,000 miles away. The prophet's words were fulfilled. The Assyrians had hastened to seize the prey, and they had hurried to take the spoil of Israel. But how does all this affect us in our day? Remember, all of this happened because the covenant people had not hearkened to the prophet. They'd refused the waters of Shiloh, meaning they had rejected the promises of peace through the Davidic covenant. The king no longer obeyed the Lord, and the people no longer supported their king, though many of them were no better than him. And as this is part of Isaiah's timeline for the last days, it means that those who reject the anointed prophet, he who holds the keys of the kingdom by right, will also have the Lord's protection withdrawn from them. In the last days there will be a choice laid before the people of the covenant, and through that choice a division will occur in which the wheat and tares are separated. Remember, Isaiah uses the word Judah as a kind of code word for the people who are come forth out of the waters of baptism. We are Judah. We have come forth out of the waters of baptism. We are the covenant people of the last days, and we are accountable for how we treat our covenants. According to Isaiah, at about the same time this division occurs, the land of the covenant people will be invaded. And then, before the child shall have knowledge to cry, My father and my mother, or in this case, before these people know how to become Zion, the riches of covenant Israel will be spoiled and taken away. We have a long way to go before we can truly claim to be Zion. And as we will see next time, those who refuse the waters of Shiloh will distance themselves from God, from His servant, and from the righteous remnant who follows that servant to Zion. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.